There's no denying how saturated the market is right now with text messaging devices. It looks like everywhere you turn, manufacturers are creating unique form factors that cater to their needs. Now we have the Samsung comeback, which almost has a deceiving look with its candy bar form factor. In fact, it's a clamshell device that may have what it takes to become part of the elite few out there. Now, the biggest complaint that we have with the Samsung comeback is its mundane looks and uninspired design. It doesn't have that appeal that the LG Envy series has. It looks like this type of device should have been released a couple years ago. It's a clamshell device that neatly tucks away the QWERTY keyboard. The materials that they use is this white plastic, which has almost a toy-like appearance to it. Surprisingly though, the material feels great and the construction is top-notch. It's a little bit thicker and also bulky in the pockets, and also the weight justifies that. From far away, one would think this is your typical candy bar phone. But in fact, the first thing that actually strikes us is the 1-inch passive matrix OLED screen that they use on the front. It works surprisingly well and gives that Tron-like look to it, especially when you use the black theme on the device. On the front, you have your keypad, which is slightly raised from the surface. They provide a really good tactile feel. You have also your navigational pad in the middle, which is large enough for us to press. We didn't have really any issues mispressing with it. There are some dedicated buttons also on there. But the biggest thing that really makes this device great is the 2.7-inch LCD screen with the resolution of 240 by 400. Text is surprisingly crisp, colors are bright and magnificent, and we just like the type of screen that the comeback has. And of course, you have your 4-row QWERTY keyboard. It's kind of reminiscent of the layout that's used on the Samsung Alias, the original one. Keys are oval shaped, tightly cramped, and they're not really that raised, so people with larger fingers will tend to have a hard time pressing on them. And also you have another navigational pad with some dedicated buttons on the inside. Close it up, you have your volume rocker, which is appropriately placed on the side, and also the proprietary USB charging port. And on the back, you have the 2-megapixel camera with speakerphone, with the battery underneath it, and the SIM card, microSD card slot, which is a little bit of a pain getting access to. Now, if you prefer, you could use the external passive matrix OLED screen to navigate through the phone. It's just limited to the functions of what it could do. For example, it will not play videos or view photos just because of the limitations of colors. Other than that, we like the Tron-like look. It has almost that futuristic appeal to it. Now, the software that's running on the Samsung comeback is your simple and basic interface. This is actually the home screen, which has your icons for various different functions. Just about anyone will get adjusted and navigate through the device relatively easy. If you go to your main menu, it kind of has the same layout that's found on the external LCD screen. It runs pretty quick, and also there's different animations that give it a really look to the interface. Now, the messaging applications typically the same with other devices. Creating text messages is just a simple procedure just about anyone could get used to. You could add different things like pictures or even sound to your text message to make an MMS. If you prefer doing instant messaging, it has your AIM, Windows Live Messenger, and Yahoo to choose from. And again, if you exit back to the home screen, it will run in the background. There's this option for an audio postcard to quickly send an MMS. It gives you a predetermined background, and also you could add sounds to it. And also the email application works surprisingly well, just because it has a preset user clients, and on top of that, if yours is not on there, you could use a specific mail client by providing the incoming and outgoing server address. It works really well, and we just like the fact that you could use different clients. The web browser on the Samsung comeback will give any user a decent experience. It's a full HTML browser that renders pages pretty well, just like what you see on a regular desktop computer. There are some issues with scrolling. Sometimes there's a slight delay trying to render photos. Other than that, there's no page overview option, so you would have to just manually resize the pages to the correct zoom levels. Luckily though, it does do it relatively quick, so you don't have to wait too long for it to load up again. For phone call quality, callers did state our voice did have a muffled sound to it. On our end though, the voices were clear and distinct. There was no background noise, so we were able to hear them quite well. But using the speakerphone, it did produce some crackling sound when you set to this high setting, so we prefer using the medium option. For the battery life, we managed to get 5 days use out of the comeback before the battery was completely drained. We did have the brightness set to its highest setting, and of course that's pretty average on this type of device. The 2 megapixel camera did produce some decent shots. It offers a wide range of options, and if you play around with that, you could produce some really good images. But overall, it was an average quality. For music and media playback, videos did play smoothly. We had no issues with it being choppy. It ran smooth, and again, just like the speakerphone, it did produce a crackling sound when you have it on the highest setting. Music, typical music software, it will run also in the background when you go back to the home screen. There's a lot to like and not like with the Samsung comeback. For starters, we did enjoy the 2 screens that they utilize on the device. And on top of that, the messaging applications works well. Now the biggest thing to stand out is just its mundane looks, and we know that Samsung can produce some really good looking devices, just like what they did on the Samsung Alias 2. Now although this device may not make a comeback, it'll probably just have to settle for second place.